Over in the Golden Valley Unified School District, things aren't so unified anymore. Let's bring in Carla G. Neal to talk about it. Carla, how are you? Nice. Carla, you were on back in October, November because you were running to be the area trustee of the Golden Valley Unified School District. You win along with John Mosley, and now here we are at about 5-6 months in. They want to get rid of you.
They want us out. Bad.
They have a recall going against you.
After, within 2 months, there was a group of parents that really they were calling for recall as they were trying to tell us their concerns about a superintendent.
What did you do to make them so mad, Carla?
Well, we accepted a superintendent's resignation. He voluntarily left.
Okay. And are they blaming that on you?
They're blaming that on us. He now has a job here up in Mariposa. So, things have come out publicly since then that there was an SEC security, a federal investigation that our district was involved in. And last night we had a board meeting, and we had a board member who is behind this recall say to the public that our district was not involved in an SEC investigation, when in fact, I can say it's public now because there is a federal investigation.
Going on currently?
Going on with, there was a deposition that was already taken place, of which the board was not told. Now, maybe that the former superintendent that had a deposition did nothing wrong. I'm not saying he did anything wrong, but the board was not told that. And to find out from attorneys that we were involved, it's pretty serious. There could be potential. We're also finding out that a mitigation agreement that was made may not be legal. So these are things.
Is this the agreement that I've heard about between some contractors?
Yes.
And the school district?
Yes.
Contractors come in, they build a big development full of houses. They're required to help out building the school that will educate these children that will live in these homes.
Well, it turns out that our district actually has a master plan to do that, to work with the developers. They created a resolution in 2011. I have that resolution here. It is a public document. And all of the board members voted on that except for Ms. Kathleen Crumpton, who is in this recall,
right?
Along with John and I. So I think the difference between the three of us is that we want this information to be in the light of day. Whereas if our taxes are potentially going to face an increase, and they passed these things, the 2007 bond that was passed by the voters was passed with the intention that this bond would not raise taxes. But in fact, the mitigation agreement that they later did 3 years later shows that, so this is Golden Valley School District, this rectangle shape.
Okay.
So now you have these developers that are coming into the most southeastern portion of it, and there are a lot of developers up until 2020 is their plan. So they are exempted under this mitigation agreement from our current bond, which was passed by the voters in 2007. So if you exempt them, that means that now you have this much of the district that is not paying the taxes. So they are exempt from our existing bond, which means that the existing people's taxes will have to go up. So, and that is what is in question.
Instead of the contractors paying for it, they're passing the cost of the new schools on to the taxpayer.
They exempted themselves under a mellow ruse, yes. So they basically,
Who wrote this mitigation?
The mitigation agreement was put together. They had a master plan for developers, and
Do you think that someone's pockets got lined? Is that what we're saying?
The people that put that together, I'll just call them out. Mona Diaz.
Okay.
Mike Kelly.
Okay.
Stephen Lewis. And Brian Freeman may not have been there, but I've heard him brag about how, he has helped forward this too. So there's a basically...
Where do they benefit from that?
Well...
Do they own businesses that might benefit from that?
I think so. I think there are a lot of businesses that stand to gain by, development coming in. I think a lot of people had to gain financially in some way or another. So that's why I think this is special interest.
So, so you and John and Catherine Crumpton, you discovered this?
Well,
how did you find out about this indiscrepancy?
How did we? Well, in closed session, we found out about the Security Exchange Commission questioning the potential legality of their selection of the company, and I'm not going to say the name of the company, that organized these negotiations with the developers. So there's a company that the Federal Securities Exchange Commission is investigating, whether or not what they did was legal. And so that's something that the public really doesn't know. I mean, when the federal government...
You would think that people would be happy that you found this. Why are they mad at you?
Well, they didn't. We couldn't talk about this at the beginning of the recall. They thought we were getting rid of Andy, which was the superintendent. He was very effective. He left of his own free will. We basically accepted that resignation so that he could go on and get more work. When you accept that, then that, we didn't fire him. That taints your record. He didn't want to go that route. We wouldn't want to go that route with him. He had been and served the district for a long time. So to accept his resignation allowed him to go and get another job, which he did. So, and we didn't have anything, reason to fire him. We didn't have anything, after that, after he left, we found out about the Security Exchange Commission agreement, which I think is public because potentially that connects to the developers, those agreements that were made, which then impacts, the existing taxpayers. And those bonds were sold to the public and passed by this public. And
so you're saying the bonds aren't worth what they were sold for?
That's the question that we need to be talking about. That's the question that we need to ask.
Golden Valley Unified School District selling junk bonds?
Well, I think they sold a good bond, but the problem is now that bond needs to, be valid at 100%, not 70%. When you exempt part of it, then that does weaken that bond. And that potentially could, mean that next time we need to ask the voters for bonds, and the people that want to pay for those bonds are not going to find that we're very credible, and they're not going to put their faith and want to give their money to us. So I think if you're building schools and you're passing bonds, that should be the most trusted source of money that you have. And so we've got attorneys from the bond attorneys talking to the developers attorneys, talking to the county council attorneys. And so there are a lot of attorneys that are discussing this. And the problem is the voters need to know. They need to know. And they want us out after 2 months. Why? So badly.
Carla Jean Neal, kindergarten teacher, runs for area trustee and gets herself in this mess. Oh my gosh!
No on the recall.
This is a lot of drama for a little school district. I think you're brave for coming out and talking about it, but we have to take off. I'm sorry. You're welcome to come back anytime.
Okay.
You guys go out and be the best presidents you can be.